Oh, this meeting is being.
So we're getting started, team. Hello and welcome, everyone. Thank you all so much for being here this evening. Before we get started, I would like to remind anyone who is on the Zoom call to just keep yourself on mute during the event unless you're asking a question. It is also important that you know that we are recording this event and we're also streaming live on Facebook. My name is Natalie, and I am one of 4 core team members at the Ottawa Young Black Professionals. In case you're hearing about us for the first time, we are a networking organization focused on providing young Black professionals with access to mentorship, coaching, and knowledge sharing opportunities, encouraging young Black professionals to lead, inspire, and create opportunities for others in their respective fields, and supporting ideas and initiatives that position our members and the community for success. While there will be an emphasis to support and address issues facing young Black professionals, we're open. We're an open group that welcomes participation and perspectives from the greater community. Before we go any further though, we'd like to take the time to acknowledge that this event is being streamed from Ottawa, which is located on the traditional unceded territory of the Algonquin and Anishinaabe people. We express our respect to all First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples, and recognize their presence as the first peoples of this land. If you're joining us from somewhere else, we invite you to do your own acknowledgement. We also want to recognize that we are still in the midst of the United Nations Decade for People of African Descent, which started in 2015 and ends in 2024. This decade is an opportunity for all of us to promote the contributions made by people of African descent to Canada, to secure concrete measures to enable our full inclusion in Canadian society, and to dismantle anti-Black racism in all its forms. So at this time, I'd like the rest of the team to introduce themselves. Keisha, Sam, and Daniel.
Hi, my name is Keisha, and I am also a part of Ottawa YBP. My background comes from project management and operations, and I welcome you all to our virtual event.
Hello, my name is Daniel Lachance. I'm a member of Ottawa YBP. I'm the marketing professional in the team, coming from advertising agency background. I help with promoting the events that we do and all of our activities, promoting them either online or in other manners.
Hello, my name is Sam, also a member here at YBP. My background is in data, so I'm a data architect, and yeah, just helping out where I can. So welcome.
I would like to first of all thank my team members for introducing themselves, and I'd like to introduce our guest speakers this evening. We have 2. We have Amanda Tkazik as well as Chidi Nwaka. So Amanda is a principal consultant at the data and analytics space. She has over 6 years experience in data strategy, integration, and governance. She has an undergraduate in psychology and as well as a master's in management of artificial intelligence from Queen's University. So welcome, Amanda.
Thank you, Daniel.
Along with Amanda, we also have Chidi. So he's a computer scientist, computer science graduate, actually. He works as a software engineer with LinkedIn. He's passionate about creating apps that make our lives easier. His interests are not only limited to science and tech, but he also enjoys reading, writing, and staying active. So Chidi, welcome to Zoom.
Thank you, Daniel. I appreciate it. Hi, everybody.
Okay, so without further ado, let's get into it. First, we'll start by just telling you, the audience a little bit about yourselves and how you got into the tech industry. Ladies first, we'll start with Amanda, and then we'll go to TD.
Awesome.
I had to find the mute button, of course. Okay, so my name is Amanda, and as was mentioned in the introduction, my background is in psychology. I went to the University of Waterloo, and when I first started in my undergrad, I thought I was going to do something related to psychology. Then I thought I was going to do something related to law, and then teaching, and then et cetera, et cetera. I just constantly was trying to figure out what it was I was going to do after my degree. Until third year, it came upon me that I realized I loved all my psychology classes and I wanted to do things that were a little bit more foundational in the sciences. So at that point, I pivoted the focus of my degree from a traditional arts psychology degree to more math and sciences. So in third year of university, I actually started taking calculus and biology. I tried doing physics, but dropped it. But I pivoted the direction of my course to focus in neurosciences. So after that, I actually went to grad school for a quick stint. I started a PhD in behavioral neuroscience, but it just wasn't for me. So I think at that time I realized I knew I wanted to do something that was going to put me in a career that I would be continuously learning, but I wasn't sure what that was. Prior to this, I had been very focused on going into academia. And so I ended up after grad school not knowing what I was going to do. But because I knew that I loved to learn, I realized that technology was probably the right industry for me to take my skill set and start a career. So the way I got into tech was after I did a really quick stint and failed out of grad school, I came back to Canada and realized I had to just get a job. So I ended up getting the lowest of low support level jobs for a small tech company on their support team with very poor pay, but it was my first foray into technology. And since then, I've just continued on and been able to carve out opportunities that reflect my skill sets. So that's a little bit about how I got into technology.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for sharing, Amanda. I can go next. Yeah. I guess for me, I've always been interested in like learning, working with computers because my dad worked in like a computer company when I was growing up and I wanted to do like what my dad was doing. So I was interested in like computer engineering, pretty much computer engineering. So I did pretty decent in like maths and physics and in high school or secondary school because I grew up in Nigeria before moving to Canada right after secondary school. So I applied to computer engineering, but I didn't get in at U of T for some reason. So I right away like updated my application and switched to computer science and got into computer science. So, which looking back now was like a better option in my opinion, because I've met some computer engineering students who ended up doing computer science classes at U of T. So I'm happy I went down the route of computer science. Then went there for like 4 years, finished with like a BSc. And after that, I just got a job right after because luckily like now it's like there's so much like demand for people who study computer science. So people who are interested in like web development. So I got a job right after and got another job I worked at University Health Networks where I worked with like a professor helping with like clinical research and like programming in the lab, also helping like the research students with like whatever technical problem they had. Then I moved to like Salom Consulting where I worked for like 2.5 years. That's how I know your sister, like Amanda. I know Alisa because we worked together for pretty much for almost 2 years and we're friends. That's how I got to meet Sam. Then about two months ago, I got a job at LinkedIn. So I moved to the Bay Area with my wife and my baby. And I don't know, we're loving it so far. So that's good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very nice. I guess Chidi, since you were just talking, I'll ask you the question first. Like, what's your day-to-day work day like?
Okay. Yeah. Well, I've been at LinkedIn for about 2 months, so I'm doing a lot of learning. But it's more of like working with maybe 50% writing code or like learning for now. But the next couple of months, I'll kind of like get into a routine. but typically there's like daily stand-ups, sometimes like about 15 minutes every day, or sometimes you just like post your status on like on Slack. Then there's like meetings that you have to attend. Like, well, it's sometimes someone nice to attend, like some you're excited to attend, some you have to attend, because it's like you know how they have like all like town halls and stuff like that. If you're not, you have to attend them. So that's part of it, comes with the job. So there's like some meetings. So typically I have maybe like 2 hours of meetings every day. Then you just have free time to like program. You kind of have like, we have a board where you can pick like what story you want to work on, or what feature you want to work on, or what bug you want to work on, and just start learning about it. Reach out to people if you don't understand it, or make progress, write code, fix whatever it is, create a pull request, people can review it. So it's very chill, like it's very flexible. I kind of like working in the morning, so I kind of try to do like 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. or maybe even earlier 7 a.m. to like 3 p.m. I get tired after some time, so I just kind of stop working. So it's very flexible with time commitment. Also, there's a lot of opportunities to learn a lot, and pretty much, yeah, you could get to learn a lot, and that's interesting. So
Okay, that sounds very fun. That sounds cool.
it is absolutely, yeah.
Amanda, is your day something similar?
My day is similar. I was going to say that there's no 2 days are the same, but then Chidi reminded me that I have stand up every single day. Like that's a given. The day always begins with a stand up. And for people that aren't in technology, this might be something that's unfamiliar to you. So a stand up is a meeting that comes from Agile Scrum methodology, where you get together with a small group of people and you talk about what you did yesterday, what you're doing today, and what your blockers are. Some teams will have more or less questions, but that's the general gist. And so it's a time for you to talk to your team about whatever help you need and escalate things forward. So in my role currently at Slalom, I'm part of the data and analytics practice. And in that, I'm doing consulting for various clients, helping them with things related to data strategy, analytics, CRM implementations, etc. So it varies from project to project. But yes, that stand-up is always a part of the day. In terms of what my technical contributions would be, right now, the projects I'm on, I'm doing more advising. So working with junior data analysts, as well as project managers who are working on a specific implementation. And I'm providing my data strategy knowledge and expertise in terms of building out data integration pipelines, delivering on project, removing those obstacles. Yeah, so that's some of the stuff that I do day to day now, but on any given project, I might have to be required to write a little bit of Python code or JavaScript, or just do whatever it takes to help contribute to get projects across the line. Something else that I'm excited about in this new role, like Chidi, I had just started at Slalom over the summer, is getting to take my technology skills and help with sales pursuits now and help winning and grow the business. So it's been exciting to take the solutioning skills that I have with regular projects and now trying to get new projects through the door. It's just a different hat I get to wear while still doing things related to technology. And I also end the day early. I do not work past 6:30 or 7 unless it's like super important.
That's great discipline, because I'm sure in tech that the day can easily bleed into the night, and for sure. So I'm definitely interested about this next question, because with you, TD, you coming from a different country, and Amanda, you even starting not even in tech when you started going to school. So just wanted to know, did you find it easy or challenging to get into the tech industry?
Yeah, for me, I found it. Oh, should I start? Or
go ahead first. Go first.
Awesome. Yeah, for me, I found it easy to get into the tech industry, because like I have like the background studying computer science. Well, studying computer science was a bit challenging in the first year, because that was when I learned how to code, because I didn't know how to program previously. So the first year was very challenging, because it was interesting. Like I kind of like the logic of like writing code and loops and functions. They were interesting, but they were not the easiest, like when I just started out. So it's a challenge in the first year, second year, but after a while you kind of get a hang of it. So it's pretty much almost the same thing in different languages. So you kind of understand how to do it. So I guess I was lucky. It wasn't difficult for me to get into this, into my roles that I've got in, or into tech industry, to be more precise.
My experience is different, but I guess with maturity, we've landed at the same sort of philosophy now that we're in tech. So because my background was not in tech, and also growing up, I wasn't into engineering or science things. Like I wasn't into Star Trek or circuits or programming. I liked reading books and volunteering in the community. So the idea of knowing how to program and basing a career in technology and building out products was not something that I dreamed about when I was a little girl. So I think in that regard, probably the challenge that I had was opening my understanding of what it means to be in technology. In retrospect, I see that there were threads. So I'm going to date myself here. Like I had a GeoCities account, right? And we would make our own little HTML websites before we knew what we were doing. Or like when MySpace was popular, we would all edit it and put our custom backgrounds and like do a little bit of scripting. So those were early interactions, which is something that I'm very passionate about, is like helping make tech more accessible to youth. But I think once I opened up my understanding of what it means to be in the tech industry, that made it more accessible. Once I decided to get into tech, it was easy, but that's because I had very low standards and I was really desperate for a job. So for good or for bad, like I think if I had higher standards, it would have been more challenging. But at that point, I was in a position where what I really needed was just a job. And so in that way, it was easy. But I definitely know that people I talk to and mentor now, it's not necessarily easy for everyone, especially if they're in an established career, to make the hop. There are strategies to wiggle your way in, but I do acknowledge that it was easier for me because I was in a spot where it was like, yes, I will take your very, very low salary to just have a job and get some experience on my resume.
I can say me, when I joined the advertising world, it wasn't easy. It took me a while, but I started in a very like basic job. It was not really related to advertising, but I found a way to like wiggle in, like, okay, let me, every business has a Facebook page and an Instagram, you know. So I just, you know, kind of convinced the boss to let me manage those things, and then that was like the first small experience, and then you just, you know, change it, you just transform it into something bigger every time. One question I have for you, I'll start with Amanda. What were the roadblocks you had, like, let's say going to the next step, let's say you're in, but then, you know, going one step further or getting that promotion, the roadblock?
So I'll guess I'll piggyback off of what you just said, right? So taking what you're doing and growing within your role has always been part of the philosophy that I brought to the workplace. So when I was in whatever position I was in, even when I was in that very first role, I was thinking, what's the job I want next? What's the job I want next? And how can I get so good at my current job that I have maybe an hour a day or half an hour a day to start working on the projects that I need that would help me get to the next position, and carving out that role. So that's always been my strategy, and it's worked very well. Even when I've primarily worked in smaller companies on purpose, because they're in a smaller company, you can wear more hats without stepping on people's toes or offending anybody. So if you're in an enterprise and you start saying, hey, I want to start doing XYZ, then your manager says, well, there's an entire department that does XYZ, or there's a circle, like a center of excellence that's been focused on that for the last 3 years. Maybe they can invite you to their meeting. Versus if you're in a small company, 50, 100, maybe 150, if you say, hey, I want to start working on data governance because no one here is talking about it, guess what? Now you're the head data governance person in the entire organization. You get to be the thought leader and carve out the path, right? And you know, the secret for the people that aren't in tech is when you interact with people that are in enterprise, guess what? None of them also know what they're doing either. So whether you're in a small company or an enterprise company, everybody's starting from scratch. So if you are in a small company and you are given the opportunity to help formalize product management, introduce agile, bring data governance, bring in a new QA process, or whatever the facet of technology that you're interested in doing, if you're able to bring that in at large organizations, there's always someone that has to be the first to bring it in as well. So that's some of the successes that I've had, was just being able to curate my experience at my different workplaces. Now, the question that you asked though was roadblock. I definitely think highly of myself. So, and that's what's helped me succeed. But then the thing is once my ideas got too big for an organization, the biggest roadblock is when I grew out of the organization, right? And so that's going to be common for people along their career path. You outgrow your boss, you outgrow your team, you're ready for something new. And because I've always been thinking, what's the next big challenge? What's the next thing? I think the biggest roadblock is I had to leave companies because I was ready to do more. And I think it made it a little bit tricky at times to accept that my time with that company was done and figure out what the next one was. So in order to help manage that outside of work, I've always been pursuing continuous education, such as my master's degree, which I just finished, which I'm super excited about. But yeah, the roadblocks definitely were those pivot points when I realized it's time to leave the company, or the friction that I had when I still thought I was going to be able to make a contribution at the organization. I've been a change agent and managing relationships, and then suddenly I realized I've reached my peak contribution at this organization, and I have people that are around me that like my ideas, but it's just you can't change the culture. And I think as someone who studied psychology, I really want to believe that you can change the culture up until a point, but there's only so much you can do unless you're at the top, which is why I want to get to the top so I can make things better for everybody. But that's probably later on in the conversation. So that's my answer.
Chidi, was it the same for you? Or?
Yeah, I agree with everything Amanda said. Exactly, it makes perfect sense. And I think mine is like, it's gonna sound cliche, but I think it's like if I don't have goals, if I don't set goals, and if I don't work towards the goals, that's the roadblock for me. Because, for example, there's a video I watched, there's a guy on YouTube called Gary Tan. He talked about how you can, or his advice to people who are starting out with career, and you should always go to somewhere where you're earning and learning. So where you're learning and earning, for when you're younger, or depends on your goal at any time, you want to be learning a lot. But if you're in a place that you're learning a lot and you're earning a lot, that's good. If you're in a place where you're learning and you're not earning as much, that's fine, because like you can always apply what you've learned in a better place. And also at a certain stage of your life, if you have like family, like then if you're not really focusing on career, you might just try to earn as much as you can. Like if you become specialized in a particular field or become like an expert in a particular field, you might just stay there and just be earning. So I think it's a good philosophy to have. Everyone should have like what their goals are, what their short-term goals are and long-term goals are in career and in life in general. So for me, I think the roadblock is like sometimes because I've had 2 jobs within 4 years, and it's like I'm not loyal to any company. Like I'm loyal to myself. Like what it sounds like I don't find it difficult to switch companies, because I know like the company wants the best, like they want the best people, right? And they want like people who everyone is got to look out for themselves in my opinion, in terms of like careers. So, and in terms of companies, the companies want the best, like they're going to fire someone who's not doing well. So if I want to switch, if I think like, oh, this is a great company and I want to work in this company, learn, get experience, that's why I'm like, no, this company sucks, man. I hate this team, or I want something else. I just apply somewhere else or move somewhere else. So I think but it boils down to like your goal. Because like or it boils down to, for me, to be more specific, like if I'm interested in something, I'll be like, okay, within the next 3 months, I'm going to focus on this. And I was interested in cloud. I still learning like AWS, and I guess I had to do it for the job, but I had to like explore something. So certain times I find like I'm not growing or I'm not making much progress is when I don't have, or I have like some roadblock, is when I don't have like a clear picture of like what I want to do within like 3 months or 6 months, and also when I'm not working towards it. Like I could have something like a goal for the next 3 months or 6 months, But if I'm just lazy, like on the weekends, I'm just like chilling, or I want to go for a walk, or I don't want to do any work at all, then that's when I get into like those roadblocks. But if I'm like not like the whole weekend, not every weekend I'm working, but like if I can get like 2 hours on Saturday, on Sunday, 1 hour, 2 hours, then I'll be making progress. But if I don't get anything, then there's no progress for me in that area. So yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Very cool. Yeah. Okay. I'm sensing a theme, right? Is know your worth, have your goals, and also chill on the weekend, when you can. But also don't let the company restrict you, right? If you sense you're growing bigger than the company, don't be afraid to find where you can keep growing. That's very cool. So let's get into another question. Hopefully we'll be able to fun here. What is your? We'll start with you, Chidi. What is your favorite part about being in tech?
Okay. Yeah, my favorite part of being in like tech, or to be more precise, being like a software engineer, it's just learning new frameworks, learning like solving problems, being able, because now it's moved to LinkedIn, I'm learning a new framework called Ember.js, and it's like it's different from what I'm used to, because I'm used to like React and AngularJS, but it's the idea of like solving problems, or like fixing like implementing features, and like go on LinkedIn, like when I go on the website and see like what I've implemented show up and people are using it. It's like it's interesting, like being able to solve or implement something that people are using, because that's one thing that gets me excited. Also, like a lot of things like you're learning and like doing like while you're implementing it, right? Like for me specifically, or like as a programmer, you may not know like the solution to everything, but you kind of have like the fundamentals or the basics, which is like writing code or like programming. Then you're gonna apply different ways, and you get feedback from people, and you give feedback to people. So it's just like, yeah, I'm excited about building stuff, building, creating, implementing features. That's the fun part of my career and my job.
You gave 3 great things you love about being in tech, right?
Okay, well,
continuous learning, use it, continuous learning, being around in a learning environment and having the foundation. And then the first one I can't recall, but those are all all my points as well. So now I'm gonna have to think, and I think I'm gonna think on the spot about maybe people that aren't in tech. If I was trying to pitch, what's something exciting about being in technology that could draw them in. I think when you come into technology, whether you are doing software engineering, data engineering, cloud architecture, data strategy, whatever aspect of technology that you're doing, I think once you start solving different problems, you realize how transferable your skill set is into other domains. Now, I'm not saying you're going to be able to jump right into any other project and solve all of the issues that they're having, but I feel like being in technology gives you a framework where you can contribute across domains and across teams. And I feel like that's very empowering, both in terms of your career opportunities, as well as your personal sense of fulfillment, knowing that you can think differently about problems. I also enjoy the people that are in technology. Mind you, it's the only career path that I've worked in, so I don't know. I don't know. But in my roles, I typically have worked in internal business systems or IT teams, and then I work with people in the rest of the business. So I get a chance to work with people in HR. I get a chance to work with people in marketing, finance, sales, so across business domains. And I feel most at home when I'm with the technology people. So every company culture is going to be different. Some are good and some are not good. But in my experience, the teams that I've been lucky to be a part of, the things that I appreciated about the team, there was open dialogue, a culture of let's be, it's about being right and not being liked, I would say. So what that means is that even as a new employee on a technical team, if you see something and you're uncertain about it, you're allowed to question. You're encouraged to share your ideas, versus I know that in other industries, from people that I've spoken to, or I guess like business functions and industries with people I've spoken to, maybe that's not so much the culture, or it's a little bit more taboo to question leadership on things, versus I find in technology that you're encouraged and celebrated for bringing new ideas to the table, but it all comes with the assumption that you have to be able to back it up and demonstrate your knowledge. And so I feel like it creates, for those who are motivated to put in the work, like Chidi mentioned, like it's easy if you are excited about it and if you're willing to put in the extra work. So if you are willing to put in the extra work to build up your clout and understanding and keep your expertise up to date, then it's easy to get on a level playing field across the teams that you're on. And so I think that's something else I really enjoy is the dialogue and banter between friends at work, colleagues, and at the end of the day, it's like there are right and wrongs in technology. There are lots of debates, but there's also right and wrong. And so it's fun to be able to change the direction of a project based off of different experiences we've had.
I think that the continuous learning, it's I guess I think it's in tech in particular, it's been like that more important for longer than other industries, but I think I'm seeing more and more it's becoming the norm that no matter what industry you're in, because things are moving so fast that they say that we're all going to have to go back to school eventually, right, for a second or a third career path as we I guess my next question, because continuous learning is fun, but at the same time it can also be kind of like, oh, I got to do another certificate, you know. So my question is, Amanda, we'll start with you. What is the thing that you like the least about tech?
It's exactly the fact that there is ongoing continuous learning, but not so much that you have to keep doing it, but it can sometimes be difficult to decide the right path. And a lot of people reach out to me and they say, I think I want to become a data scientist. What direction do I go? Well, there's so many ways you can start doing data science. I think there is no one right way to become a data scientist. Everybody's journey to become a data scientist is different, and your experience becoming a data scientist will depend on what skills you have before, what interests you have, what's going on. Like, there's so many ways to chart it out, and I think a lot of us bring anxiety into trying to chart out the perfect way to become the next thing we want to do. So I don't know for Chidi, but for myself, I have a vision for what my next step in my career is going to be. And I think generally about what it will take to get there. Sometimes I'm right and sometimes I'm wrong, but I'm excited when I'm doing it anyways, because I know I'm enjoying the learning process. So my least favorite thing though is sometimes though it can be overwhelming to think, what am I going to do next? And not so much having to learn, but trying to pick the right thing. Or sometimes I get really excited and there's lots of things I want to do, and how do I only choose one of them? That's also a problem that I have right now.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Exactly what Amanda said. Those are like my main, like those are my least, or the thing I don't like most about it, because there's so much to do. Like there's so much I want to learn, I want to do, and there's like a finite amount of time, and you can't do everything. Also, the part of like not having like a clear part of being able to do something, it's like sometimes it gets like, it's good because people can have different experiences and people can arrive at the same place or do the same job, but it's like no clear path. So it's a bit difficult for someone who's coming from outside to get into a particular field. For example, like web development, that's what I do. There's different paths like you can get into web development. Like you can, like I did like the traditional route, going studying computer science, then how to program and how to like do web development, and went directly. I've also worked with people who went to like a boot camp. I've also worked with people who are self-taught programmers. So it's like there's no like clear path, which is good and bad, because some people like structure, but if you don't like, but also you can always arrive like in the same role if you with the different paths to do. So I guess that's the least part of technology. I kind of like it. So I guess I'll consider that like the least part of technology or the field we're in.
I think we forgot something too, though. Probably favorite thing is the salary. But probably the least favorite thing though is the Canadian salary versus the US salary, but we're not, that's, we don't need
I don't
to
have
get
to worry
into
about that now, but I'm joking. Yeah, true. The salary it's a big pick for sure.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, TD is now living a life in the States. So definitely no complaints there for sure. But yeah, I also want to pivot a little bit. You know, YBP, one of the things that we like to stress or important to us is, you know, bringing up other, you know, minorities in professional settings, so in tech and other professional industries. I know Amanda, it's listed on your LinkedIn as like one of the things that's important to you. She to you as well. I know, like, just having discussions with you, that's also very important to you. So just wanted to get your take on why that's important to you in terms of interest in the advancement of minorities in tech and in STEM. Chi, I'll start with you.
Okay. Yeah. For me, I'm passionate about like trying to get people into tech, because tech is of technology, to be more precise. It's more like it's very broad and there's so much you can do. There's like Amanda mentioned earlier, there's like data science, there's web development, there's AI, there's machine learning. There's also like other parts like product management. There's so much you can do in technology. And yeah, and it's always good to try out something and to get into it. And the field is currently like it's changing, it's getting better. There's so many opportunities. So, and then I know many people, or I try to tell my cousins, I try to introduce them to like programming, or like tell them about programming languages, or tell them about my workplace. Like come to my house and watch me work, and they're like, "Oh wow, are you working?" Like, because it's like I take frequent breaks. My mom was like in my house one time while I was working. She was surprised because she works in the daycare, and the way she works is completely different from the way we work. Because I just kept on like moving around, taking breaks, eating, and she was like, "Are you working?" Like it's she wasn't used to it. So like that's an interesting, like it's different from what people are used to, right? So I think I think people should be very exposed to it. And like unfortunately many Black people are not interested in tech, or are not exposed to tech as much. Because I remember because like people are always saying like, well, this might sound like controversial to some people, because some people are always saying like they're not hiring many Black people, or many Black people are not in tech. But I remember going to computer science at U of T, and we were literally like five Black people in the whole, like from first year to fourth year. Literally, I knew everybody, because like we're very few, like we kind of knew each other by name. So I'm not surprised if I come to the workplace and I'm the only Black person there, because not many people are studying it. So I think it's always like, at the beginning, like it's easier to change, or if you want to influence people, start with people who are young, like in middle school or in high school, try to get them interested in tech, because that's when you can go. Because now like people can switch into tech, like Amanda got into it, but it's harder when you get older, because some people are not willing to do the work at that time to get into technology, or to get into a different career. But if you get in early, first you build some experience, secondly it's easier for you because you're younger. So my whole message is like, what I would always try to encourage is like, try to tell people about tech, tell like young people, tell as many people as you can, tell them there's so much they can do, and there's different fields, different areas that they can get interested in, or they can explore, and just explore it and see if you like it, or try out different things. But it's not the most difficult, because some people have the stereotype too, like tech, it's very difficult, but not everything is too difficult, right? Like it's challenging, and you're always going to be learning, but there might be something that you will like out of everything. So as much as possible, just sharing news about technology to people. That's what I like doing, and that's what I would always recommend people should do.
The advancement of historically oppressed individuals in technology is so important to me. I'm gonna try to keep my response limited, because it's a topic I'm really passionate about. This could be like a whole 1 hour session. Bring me back, right? So I think so like Chidi said, it's important to get people interested in technology early, but I also think it's important to bring people into tech from other areas, and that happens through exposure. But why is it important? obviously, in today's society, ID&E or diversity and inclusion, you'll see that as a flagship or a slogan on a lot of companies. But the research, my lived experiences and hearing from others, and we know that having different people in the room changes the way that things are built. It changes the way that decisions are made. It changes how things get done. It changes how people are treated, and it changes the outputs. And when we're working in technology, oftentimes we're creating things that are going to be going out into the world, whether it's through direct to consumer or through businesses. And if we do not have a variety of people bringing in their best ideas, there ends up being negative consequences to the people that were excluded from the decision making in the first place. So I feel like if we are not bringing in individuals who've been excluded from technology into the table, like especially with the advancement of AI and machine learning, like this is happening in all this addictive, surveillance capitalism technology that we are all like a part of it, whether we want to be or not. It just further perpetuates the bias and the oppression that we are all facing, whether we're aware of it or not. And I see Keisha wrote inclusivity in the workplace is key, which is a whole other domain of it as well. Not only is it important for the products that we're developing, but also how we bring people into the organization. Like Chidi, like I'm used to coming in and being one of the only Black people on my team. And it's like, I don't want that to be the case when I have children. I want my children to be in a diverse workplace and have peers and be able to feel like a sense of belonging. And that's not something in Canadian tech that I feel that we get a chance to be around people who look like us and live like us and have similar shared experiences. I think the last thing that I will mention on that too is, yeah, I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it at that. It's just a topic I'm very passionate about, and it's important. It's important, yeah, to continue to acknowledge where we are as a society and actively be working to make things better for the future in terms of what's happening today and who's included and who's not.
So actually, we're going to stay on the topic just a little bit more, so my question is, how would we go about, like, I guess, getting more the minorities into the tech industry, into STEM? Like, do you have any ideas on how to increase, I guess, people who take that career path?
So Chidi mentioned it as well, youth engagement. There's a lot of programs. I can't speak to ones that are in Ottawa because I'm Toronto based, but I know in Toronto, there's a lot of different programs that are targeted going into the schools or providing extracurricular activity for free or low cost in order to be accessible to students of all backgrounds, of all classes, of all situations, to get education in things that are exciting to children. So robotics, 3D printing, this exposure to technology. I know, there's a bunch of different groups that are going into schools and partnering. So if you're a parent out there listening and you don't necessarily have those skills, don't put it on you. Go to your teacher, ask the principal, look up coding resources for kids in your city and see where you can get your child a spot in something that will expose them to technology learning from an early age. So that's youth engagement. And there's other stuff I'm sure maybe Chidi will be able to contribute to youth engagement particularly. I think the other really big thing that I want to see more of, and I'm still educating myself because I am not really big in venture capital firm, like venture cap space right now, is definitely addressing the gap in access to capital that individuals who are Black experience. And I know that there are some banks that are targeting some of their venture cap funds specifically for BIPOC. So that is a move in the right direction, but I still think that there is a skills gap in, one, helping Black founders with their ideation, two, helping Black founders find mentors that are actually committed to helping them grow their businesses, and then three, getting them their funding. So I think it's good that the funding is available, but we still got to work on the pipelines 1 and 2, which is helping Black founders have the courage to say, you know what, I'm going to actually build the thing that I think needs to exist in the world, which I think, and this is something I struggle with myself, is I I'm not an entrepreneur. I'm not a founder, but the reality is if you read the bios of a lot of founders and entrepreneurs, many of them start off not necessarily knowing what they're going to do. And when you're in technology, the big P word that you learn about is pivoting, right? Pivot, pivot, pivot. When you have a solution, when you realize it's not working, you have to pivot. When you're working on a product and you realize it's not getting traction, you got to pivot. So that's that same attitude of being willing to pivot that early stage entrepreneurs need to take on and be willing to accept. I'm not there yet, so can't give you the tips yet, but hopefully this sparks an inspiration for you. If you have something that you think you want to make a business, whether it's tech or not, just jump out there, even if you know what you want to do or not. But I think the second thing also, and this is why organizations like YBP are important, connecting people with mentors, connecting with that network. And I think as BIPOCs, it's so important that we are coming together, acknowledging that we've been excluded from conversations that are happening in our workplaces today, meetings that we weren't included in, networking events that no one thought to extend the invitation, or we got the courtesy invite to event one, but we didn't get the extended invite to the behind closed doors, right? So I think the thing is we need to acknowledge, yeah, you know what, it sucks, but we're going to come together as a community and got to help each other, announce what our goals are and help each other figure out a way to make it a reality. And that mentorship, like my long-term goal is to get into a place where I can really have a strong impact in helping people grow their businesses. But right now it's like, I'm still on the other side where it's like, hey, whoever's out there listening, if you're at a certain executive level, come and get me and help me get up there. We got to just continue to build our networks. Okay, TD, over to you.
Yeah. Thank you for everything you said. Like, I agree 100% with everything that you said. I guess just to add, like, is like an easy way is just for us to talk to people, right? Like, if you have cousins, if you have like nephews, nieces, or if you have like brothers or friends, just tell them about tech. Like, I'm trying to get some of my friends to get into tech now because it's just in terms of even just telling them about like the salary range. You don't necessarily have to tell them how much you're earning. You can tell them like if you finish with like if you get like right out of school studying computer science, you can get some. If you get a very good job, you can get 6 figures. You can get 80K a year in Canadian. You can get 50K compared to like how much their counterparts who studied psychology are making. Yeah, I was just joking. Just checking information in psychology on Monday, but like their counter like other people are making, right? So money can be a good incentive for people to be like, oh, let me check out this program, because that's why some people study certain programs, right? They want to be comfortable in life. They want to be able to, like, they think they can, or like choosing a particular career, they believe they can have a family with that and live a comfortable life. So some people base their decision on that. Also, another one is like based on interest. And you got to try out something to see if you're interested. Sometimes you're interested in something right away. Sometimes you have to try it out and be like, oh, this thing looks interesting. This thing sounds interesting. So people should just try out different things, and like young people, and also then if they're interested, they can go down the path, and they shouldn't like follow like stereotypes and be like, oh, you don't like software engineers or programmers are like Asians or like white people, and it's like someone in their dorm room programming for hours, like 12 hours straight. Like, it's not like that. Like, Black people can program, anyone can program, so anyone can work in tech, so anyone can be a product, like a UX designer. My wife studied like fine arts. She's an artist, but she also works at like as a UI designer and a content creator now, content manager. That's what she does. But she's worked as a graphic designer. She's worked as a UI designer, and she's an artist. So you can be an artist and you can switch and you can get into tech if you want. So it's about just trying out different things. And for older people, just mentorship, like what Amanda mentioned, it's really nice. Reach out to like Black people on LinkedIn. Like, literally anyone that reaches out to me, anyone I've reached out to, any Black person, everyone has responded, because it's like people just want to help, right? Like, if you've gotten to a particular place or you have some experience and like you're moving forward, you want someone to help you. So it's kind of like, if you help someone's going to help you, things like that. So reaching out to people on LinkedIn, I've reached out to many people and they've given like some tips or recommendations or like suggestions. So don't be afraid to reach out to people. That's my 2 cents on that.
Yeah, wow, definitely a lot of good information, a lot of stuff to unpack there. It's a good thing this is recorded, so we can go back and watch it and rewatch and take notes. Amanda, you spoke about pivoting, which is a really important idea. So I'm going to pivot to a question from the chat. And the
Nice.
question is, do either of you intend to IP your own technology one day?
What's IP? I think one of you mentioned you asked the question.
Intellectual property.
Yeah, like get a patent.
Okay,
Yes,
right.
patent, intellectual property.
Okay,
You want to go first,
Amanda,
CD?
please. No, you can
Okay,
go ahead.
I'll go
So I
first.
can just copy your answer.
Oh yeah. So like I mentioned earlier, I'm still in my personal journey of career path. I guess I'll say this. My mom raised me to be a business leader, not an entrepreneur. My mom was an entrepreneur and I was her co-pilot helping her run various businesses when I was growing up. And so I'm still growing up in my journey of realizing I too can come up with ideas. But right now in my path, in my career, my excellent skill is working with people who have an idea and helping them grow that. So when it comes to doing my own patent or IP technology, I think one day it will happen, but right now I'm not, since I don't have many ideas. I don't even know what it will end up being, but I probably will end up helping somebody get it done and I'll sneak my name in there as well because of my contribution. But like, I think, it's funny because Sam's like, oh, we can come back and watch this. So it's like, what year is this? 2021? Come back in 5 years and see what I'm the CEO of, what big company I'm the CEO of. That's where I want to end up.
Nice. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Speaking of me, I don't know if I'm gonna like patent like an idea. I want to have a startup in future. Or I want to work on different startups. So I think like if I find like if I get an idea and I'm currently working on it and it's unique and I need to get a patent for it, definitely I will get it. But if it's something that it's already out there and there's already competition, but mine is just much better, then I probably won't be able to get a patent. But I just need to like work harder or work faster, make it better so people can use my app instead of using the one out there. So yeah, patenting is a good idea because I have a friend he's a scientist, so he has gotten like a few patents, and he's always like told me like when I'm ready, he's gonna like walk me through the process. Well, I don't have that kind of world breaking idea yet to patent. So, but it's a good idea, definitely. Like if you have an idea and you look it up and there's no one doing it, I think you should patent it because some people people can go through like if you patent it, you're gonna make your knowledge or what you're trying to do public, right? And if a company is trying to do the same thing, you can literally make a lot of money. You can make like thousands of dollars or even millions of dollars. It depends on the idea. If you patent it right before like one of these big companies came up with it. Example, I came up with an idea or like a while back, I was like, maybe like if you have like Netflix, how about if there's like a Netflix feature where like multiple people can watch like a movie at the same time? I kind of have a conversation at the same time. I was like, man, that's a good idea. Well, maybe I don't know how to make like I don't want to spend time making like a movie website and having to integrate that. Then a couple of years after, I had like Netflix and one of that company were doing exactly the same thing. I was like, oh my God. I'm a genius because like I'm predicting what's gonna happen, but I didn't do anything. So it's always like that. Like if you keep thinking of ideas, if you don't implement it within like a couple of months or years, you're gonna see your exact idea. People are doing it. So the earlier you get started on your idea, even by patenting it or even implementing it, the better, because someone is gonna do it or someone's gonna start out with that. Go ahead, please.
I was gonna say too, like even if we take not without the focus on patent, doing something towards your idea and also being mindful of where you share that idea and how you bring it into the world and when you bring it into the world, right? So I think to Chidi's example, I too have had ideas where it's like, oh man, I wish I had the time and energy to build this really cool tech, and then a year later I see someone's getting millions of dollars of funding and I'm like, you know what, now that I see that they did it, it's actually a pretty simple technology. I don't know why I didn't. The thing is a lot of the companies that we rely on, under the hood, there's a lot of garbage. in their engineering. Chidi has to go off camera when I say that because he works at a big company, right? But I can say that, like, from the blogs that I read and the conferences that I've gone to, all of these companies are constantly figuring things out. They encounter problems and then they hire a bunch of people to solve that problem. And they encounter a different problem and they hire a bunch of more people to solve that problem. So if you, as an individual founder or a team of people, have an idea, you know, for whatever the new app or whatever the new thing is, do not inundate yourself with the inevitable engineering problems that are part of running a technology company. Choose the smallest problem that you need to fix, you know, for that MVP, most viable product, build that and get it out and see if it has value in the market. So this is entrepreneurship 101, whether you're in technology, whether you're in retail, whether you're in food and hospitality, whatever it is. I mean, before we even get into patents, thinking about bringing action to your idea and bringing something of it into reality, even if it's a big, wild idea, what's the smallest thing that you can build just to get some of that momentum? Because in the venture cap space, which I claimed 20 minutes ago not to know much about, I do know a little bit about, and I do know that ideas do sell, right? So if you have a team of people that have credibility and you can get in front of the right individuals with the right idea and the right proof of concept and the right, you know, promise of a user market, you can get the funding that you need to bring in those people to solve those engineering problems that you yourself don't know how to fix. So think about it in that way. That's how a lot of these other companies are growing. They don't know how everything works. They don't have the answers. They have the idea, and they have the smallest little bit. So Chidi, next time you have an idea like that, reach out to your network and let's all jump on it.
I see. I'm just looking at the time. I see we're nearing the end of this conversation, and it's a lot of fun, lots of energy this evening. So I'm gonna ask you guys one last question. I start with you, Amanda. What does being a Black professional mean to you? Oh, I think you're on mute.
Yeah, no, I was just sighing. I was just thinking that's a big question. To me, being a Black professional means being someone who is unashamed to bring my whole self into the workplace with my culture as I am, and to, yeah, like just being my whole self at the workplace as a biracial individual in Canada in 2021. So on the professional side, it means being the fierce boss that my mother raised me to be, who will one day be a CEO of a major company, whether it's one I start or something else, coming with integrity and always being willing to put my head out on the block for what I know is right. And then on the Black side, like bringing that in, it's again, just showing up and being willing to speak the way I want to speak, bringing the ideas and the creativity that I know that I have, even if I know it's against the norm. That's what it means for me to be a Black professional. And also accepting others as who they are, right? Like let's cut the pretenses.
Yeah. And you, Chidi.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's a great point, Amanda. I think mine is just being myself at work, just being my personality, just being, because I'm chilled, relaxed, nice. And yeah, just being myself, being able to work with people, get along with people, and also don't suck, because like I'm probably, like, even unconsciously, like you're gonna be representing like Black people, right, at work. So if, like, example, if I'm now I'm the only Black person on my team, and I do, like, if I do a decent job, yeah, they can hire more Black people. But if I do like a terrible job, some people might, like, they might not say it, but they might be like, oh, this is how like Black engineers are. I might be like the first Black engineer they're probably working with, so they might have some stereotypes. So just don't suck and just be yourself. That's what I do. And yeah, but I try not to suck. Just do decent work. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Chidi, that last point. Just try not to suck, okay, people? You need to represent. You need to represent.
Yeah. It's just, yeah, you just have to, because even though you don't choose, you just have to, right?
But it's true. It's true. When you come, you don't come just by yourself. You come with everyone who's coming behind you, right? So
Absolutely.
absolutely, 100%. I get you. While there's so many things that I took away from this conversation, just talking about, setting your goals, being yourself, and bringing your full self and 100%, every time you walk into your workspace, being creative and getting into jobs that you love and jobs that you can learn from and continuously learn and expand and grow and evolve. And I think you gave us so much to think about. I will be going back because there are some other initiatives that I have under my, in my pocket that I'd like to pull forward. And I think there's a lot of stuff that you guys gave that will help me and others do the same. So thank you so much for being here. And I just wanted to say, although this segment of the event will be over, we are doing our after talk, and I'll let Keisha Charles, bring that up in just a moment. I do want to say that we have had two really excellent speakers, and we can't let them go without giving them a little something. And that little something is going to come from a local entrepreneur. I have this beautiful box right here. It's from a company called I'm Au Natural. She founded this company close to 10 years ago, and it's called I'm Au Natural, and she sells a bunch of different products, from creams. Hair creams is very, I would say Black centered, but anyone can use these products on their hair, on their skin. And it's just amazing. I've been using it for a long, long time now. And the company is actually named after her grandmother, Imogen, affectionately known as Miss Imo. So one of her fondest and first childhood memories is handcrafting foods and products with her grandmother. And this is where she got a taste of creating products from. And so it's a Canadian-based business owned by a Black woman. So it's natural hair and body care company. And they're just on a mission to return skin and hair care back to the basics with simple, clean, natural, luxurious ingredients. So I'm gonna attempt to open this box so you guys can get an idea of what's inside. But I mean, it's just, oh, guys, it's like all nicely closed up here. And this is what you're gonna get in your box. So I hope you guys enjoy. There's some creams, body scrubs, and this is all natural stuff. And I hope you guys enjoy it. I definitely know you will. And so I wanna say thank you to I'm Au Natural for sponsoring this and giving this beautiful gift to our guests. And we will be putting the contact information for this locally based company in the chat. And also we'll be taking some pictures and posting it so those of you on Facebook can get that information as well. So thank you guys so much. Know that you can always contact Ottawa YBP. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn at Ottawa YBP. If you have any questions, any ideas for events, please send it over to us, info@ottawybp.com. ottawybp.com is also where you can see our newest website. We just freshened that up and it's looking really good and we're really proud of it. So go ahead and check that out. So now I'm going to turn it over to Keisha for our after talk. Those of you on Facebook Live, we're out. Those of you on Zoom, stay here, keep it locked, and we're going to have an interesting conversation. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Natalie. So After Talk is a new